Okay, so imagine this. You're having your morning coffee, and it's not just waking you up. It's like actually like kicking your metabolism into gear and like helping you burn fat. That's the, I don't know, kind of crazy promise of javaburn.
It really is. And, I think that idea of sort of turning your everyday coffee into a weight loss tool or whatever, it's super appealing, especially for people who already drink coffee. It makes sense that Java Burn's gotten a lot of attention.
Yeah, for sure. And you helped me put together a ton of info on this. Like, we've got marketing materials, some research papers, like the whole thing. So let's try to break it all down and see if javaburn is actually, as good as they say it is.
Let's get into it. I think the first thing that really sticks out from the Java Burn stuff is this claim that something like 80% of Americans might have slow metabolisms because of like their genes.
80%. Whoa. Really? That seems really high. Like, where's that number coming from?
Yeah. That's a really good question. And honestly, the material doesn't really go into like the source of that statistic. But I think it's important to keep in mind that even though genetics do play a part in your metabolism, it's not, the whole story.
Right. So even if you are kind of like predisposed to a slower metabolism, things like what you eat and how much you exercise can have a big impact too, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's more like, your genes load the gun, but your lifestyle pulls the trigger as far as like how fast your metabolism runs. And Java Burn is super focused on this whole thing about coffee being like a metabolic primer, but like it needs the right nutrients to really work.
Okay, so as a daily coffee drinker, I'm definitely intrigued. But is there really any truth to coffee actually boosting your metabolism?
Well, there is some research that backs up the idea that coffee can temporarily speed up your metabolic rate.
Mm.
Studies have shown that caffeine can kickstart something called thermogenesis, which is basically your body burning calories to make heat.
So there's a real effect, but it's not like drinking coffee alone is gonna like melt away the pounds, right?
Exactly. It's a pretty small effect and doesn't last very long. Java Burn says that they amplify this effect by combining coffee with this like specific blend of ingredients that they have. And they talk a lot about ingredients like chlorogenic acid, L-carnitine, green tea extract, and chromium.
Yeah, yeah, I was looking at that ingredient list. Some of those sound pretty, I don't know, potent, especially that chlorogenic acid. What's the deal with that one?
Okay, so chlorogenic acid is a natural compound that's found in coffee beans.
Oh.
And researchers have looked into like its potential effects on things like blood sugar regulation and weight management. There have been some small studies that have shown some promising results, suggesting it might help, reduce how much glucose your body absorbs and improve insulin sensitivity.
So it can maybe help with those like blood sugar spikes after you eat?
That's the idea. But there is a catch. The material you gave me doesn't actually say how much chlorogenic acid is in Java Burn. And the studies that did show those good effects, they generally used way higher doses than you would usually find in a supplement.
So like it might not even be enough to actually make a difference.
It's definitely possible. You always got to pay attention to the dosage when you're looking at, what a supplement claims to do. Now, another ingredient they highlight is L-carnitine, which is often marketed as a fat burner. It's involved in transporting fatty acids into the mitochondria, which are, the powerhouses of your cells. That's where they can be burned for energy.
Okay, so that sounds like it could be like a key part of, boosting your metabolism.
Well, it's a little more complicated than that.
Yeah.
Some studies have shown that taking L-carnitine supplements could maybe lead to like a little bit of weight loss, but other studies haven't really found any big effects. And even in the studies with positive results, those were usually people who are also exercising and eating healthy.
So not like a miracle fat burner by itself then.
Not really. And the research gets even more unclear when you look at the type of L-carnitine that Java Burn uses. They don't actually specify. And different forms of it, they have different levels of how well your body can absorb them and how effective they are.
Hmm. That's a good point. It makes you wonder if the marketing is getting ahead of what the science actually says.
Yeah, that's a valid concern.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to green tea extract, which is another really popular ingredient. It's in Java Burn and tons of other supplements. Green tea has these compounds called catechins, and the most well-studied one is EGCG.
EGCG. I'm not familiar with that. Can you explain what that is?
Sure. So EGCG stands for epigallocatechin gallate. It's a powerful antioxidant, and some research suggests that it might have a role in boosting metabolism and promoting fat oxidation. But again, the research is still ongoing, especially when it comes to dosage and long-term effects.
So there's potential there, but, we need more data before we can say for sure.
Right, exactly. And then we have chromium. javaburn says it helps support healthy blood sugar levels. Chromium is an essential trace mineral that's involved in how insulin works, how our bodies process glucose.
Okay, yeah, I see the connection there. But is there like actual evidence that taking chromium supplements actually helps with weight loss or blood sugar control?
It's kind of a mixed bag. Some studies have shown a small benefit in terms of reducing insulin resistance and making blood sugar control better, especially for people who already have diabetes.
Right.
But then other studies didn't find any major effects, especially in people who are healthy.
So it's not like a sure thing for everyone then.
Right. And again, the material doesn't tell us the dosage or what form of chromium is used in javaburn.
It's really interesting how there's often this like disconnect between the marketing claims and the actual scientific proof. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it shows how important it is to be a critical consumer. It's easy to get caught up in like the hype of a product, especially if it's something you already like coffee, and it promises you easy results. But you really got to look beyond the marketing and actually, dig into the science.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Don't just take their word for it. Do your own research. Now, javaburn also puts a lot of emphasis on their 60-day money-back guarantee. They make it seem like there's no risk. How common are these guarantees in the supplement world?
Oh, money-back guarantees are super common in the supplement industry. It's a way to make the customer feel like, they're not taking a big risk, and it encourages them to try the product. But just because a product has a money-back guarantee doesn't mean it actually works.
Right. It's more about whether the customer is happy, not whether they actually get results. And they're really pushing these like 90-day and 180-day supply packages, for optimal results. And they make a big deal about the limited time discount.
Classic marketing. Creating a sense of urgency and getting people to buy in bulk are really common ways to increase sales.
Yeah, it's all starting to sound pretty familiar. What are some, I don't know, like red flags that people should look out for when they're evaluating these kinds of products?
Well, besides the obvious, like exaggerated claims and not enough scientific evidence, be careful of products that rely a lot on testimonials and before and after pictures instead of, actual research. And you should always be a little skeptical if a product promises you incredibly fast or easy results.
Yeah, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Exactly. And never forget that no supplement can actually replace a healthy lifestyle. A balanced diet, regular exercise, and getting enough sleep are the real foundations of managing your weight.
So javaburn might be a cool thing to add to your coffee, but it's not going to replace those healthy habits.
Exactly. And it's always a smart move to talk to your doctor before you start taking any new supplements, especially if you have, any health conditions or you're taking medications already.
Great advice. We've covered a lot in this first part of our deep dive into javaburn. What else is coming up in the next part?
Well, we've only just scratched the surface. We still need to take a closer look at javaburn's proprietary patent-pending formula, which they really play up. And we'll also look into any potential downsides or interactions that people should know about.
Sounds good. Stay tuned, everyone, because we're just getting started. All right. Welcome back to our deep dive on javaburn. We spent the first part, kind of like going through some of the big claims they make about the ingredients, and I'm curious to hear what else you've found.
Yeah, let's go back to that ingredient list for a minute because there's a few more things I think we should talk about. We were talking about green tea extract before, how it has those catechins like EGCG, but the marketing material really pushes this whole synergy thing. Like they say, all these ingredients, they work better together than if you took them separately.
Yeah, that whole synergy thing. I don't know, it always makes me a little suspicious. Is there like actual scientific proof that that's true for javaburn specifically?
It's a little tricky. Some nutrients can, complement each other, but that doesn't mean that just because you throw a bunch of ingredients together, it automatically becomes like some kind of super formula. You really need specific research that shows this particular combination at these doses, actually does more than just taking the ingredients on their own.
So basically, like that whole synergy claim is more of a marketing thing than actual science in this case.
That's what I would say, yeah, based on the information you gave me. The material doesn't actually, back up that synergy claim with any hard evidence. Now, one thing that kind of jumped out at me was that they say javaburn is tasteless and dissolves instantly in coffee.
Yeah, I saw that too. Sounds pretty convenient. But does that, I don't know, does that actually affect how well it works?
It's more about the user experience. Not so much about how effective it is, a tasteless powder that mixes easily that's obviously, more appealing than something that's chunky or bitter. But here's something to think about.
Yeah.
They specifically say that their formula is like designed to work together with coffee. So what happens if you like mix it with tea or, put it in a smoothie or something?
Oh, that's an interesting point. Would it totally like negate the effects, or could those individual ingredients still do something?
It's hard to say for sure without more research. I mean, maybe some of the ingredients would still have benefits no matter what you mix them with. But it's also possible that the coffee itself, like, plays a part in how your body, absorbs and uses the formula. The material doesn't really address that, though.
Makes you wonder, are there any, I don't know, like potential downsides or interactions to be aware of? Could certain medications or health conditions make a Java burn, a bad idea?
That's a really important question. And um, the material doesn't really answer it directly. They do say that it's manufactured in a GMP-certified facility, which I guess means they're following certain quality standards.
Well, okay, that's good to know. But
Right.
it's still important for people to, do their research and talk to their doctor before they try any new supplement, right?
Oh, for sure. Especially if you're pregnant or nursing or if you have any pre-existing health conditions, it's always better to be safe than sorry and, get advice from a healthcare professional. They can help you, figure out the potential risks and benefits for you specifically.
Right, right. Now, we've talked a lot about the science or sometimes the lack of science behind Java Burn's claims. But what about the marketing itself? We've already mentioned like the money back guarantee and the limited time offers, but what are some of the other strategies they use to sell this product?
One thing that really stands out is that the way they use testimonials and before and after pictures, that's super common in the weight loss industry.
Yeah.
And I mean, it can be really convincing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you got to remember, those are just individual experiences. They're not scientific proof that it works.
Yeah, just because it, supposedly worked for one person doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody. What are some like other things to look out for in those testimonials?
Watch out for like vague language.
Yeah.
Things like, I feel more energized or I've noticed a difference.
Hmm.
Those kinds of claims are really hard to measure. And it could be like a bunch of different things causing it, not just the supplement. And also be a little skeptical of testimonials that sound like super dramatic or just, too good to be true.
Yeah, yeah, good point. And what about those before and after photos? I mean, those can be pretty convincing visually.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But they can also be easily manipulated. Lighting, posing, clothes, all that stuff can affect how somebody looks in a picture. And you can't really know for sure if the changes they're showing are just because of the supplement or if, like, diet and exercise played a part too.
So we should take those, visual testimonials with a grain of salt too. Are there any other marketing tactics you've noticed?
They also, like, really play up the whole coffee thing. By making Java Burn seem like something you just add to your regular coffee routine, they make it seem like this easy way to, like, boost your metabolism without having to do anything different.
That's true. It kind of plays on that idea that you can like, make your daily habit into a weight loss tool without really changing anything. That's pretty smart marketing, actually. But we got to remember that no supplement, even one you put in your coffee, can replace, actually living a healthy lifestyle.
Exactly. It's all about, having realistic expectations. And that brings up another thing. Java Burn is often marketed as like, a quick fix or a shortcut to losing weight.
Yes, the elusive quick fix. It seems like everyone's always looking for that. But is that really like realistic when it comes to weight loss?
Not really. Sustainable weight loss usually happens gradually, and it usually involves making, long-term changes to how you eat and how much you exercise. Supplements might, maybe help a little bit, but they shouldn't be the main thing you rely on.
So Java Burn might be an interesting thing to add to your routine, but it's not going to magically melt away the pounds overnight.
Exactly. And everyone's different, right? So what works for one person might not work for someone else.
Yeah, there's no like one-size-fits-all solution. Now, they make a big deal about their proprietary patent-pending formula, making it sound all fancy and exclusive. But what does that actually mean, like practically speaking?
Well, patent pending just means that, like, the specific combination of ingredients and the amounts they use, it's, unique to them and is protected. Doesn't necessarily mean it's better than other formulas.
So it's more about protecting like their, their intellectual property than proving that the product actually works better.
Pretty much, yeah. And that's why it's so important to look at the actual scientific evidence and
Yeah.
not just like the marketing hype when you're trying to decide if the supplement is worth trying.
Great advice. It seemed like there's always like, more to discover when you start digging a little deeper.
Absolutely. And we're not done yet. In the last part of our javaburn deep dive, we're going to talk about some bigger questions about the supplement industry and, how to be a smarter consumer in general.
I'm looking forward to it. Stick around, everyone. We'll wrap this all up soon and give you the knowledge you need to, navigate the world of supplements and make smart choices. And we're back for the final part of our javaburn deep dive. We've really, kind of taken this product apart and looked at it from all sides. But I'm sure you've got some final thoughts to share with us.
Yeah, I do. And they go beyond just javaburn itself. This whole deep dive has really made me think about like a bigger question. How can people become, smarter consumers when it comes to health and wellness products?
That's so true. We've seen how, the marketing can sometimes kind of get in the way of the actual science. So how can our listeners like develop that critical thinking, to really evaluate these claims they're seeing?
Well, first of all, don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah.
If a product is saying it can do something amazing, like look into it. What's the evidence? Look for research that's been published in real scientific journals, not just, testimonials or stories from people.
Right, right. Those personal stories, they can be really persuasive, but they're not the same as actual data. What are some other like red flags that people should be aware of?
Be careful of products that make these like really big promises or say they're a miracle cure.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And also be skeptical of any product that tells you not to talk to your doctor or says it can, like, replace medical advice.
Yeah, always a good idea to get your doctor involved in these decisions. They can help you, sort through all the complicated stuff and figure out any potential risks.
Exactly. They can, look at your specific health history, any medications you're taking, and make sure that a supplement is safe for you to take. Don't be shy about talking to your doctor about these products.
Another thing we talked about was, this whole idea of bio-individuality. Basically the fact that everybody's body, reacts to things differently.
Yeah, that's so important. What might work great for your friend? It might not do anything for you. And that's why it's so important to really pay attention to how you feel when you start taking a new supplement.
Listen to your body. If something feels off, it's probably best to stop taking it.
Exactly. And don't get discouraged if one thing doesn't work. There might be other approaches that are a better fit for you. Health is a journey. It's not like a destination. It's all about, finding what works for you.
I love that. And it reminds us that real health, the kind that lasts, it's not about those quick fixes or magic products. It's about, making lifestyle changes that you can actually stick with.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Mm.
And that goes back to the basics, right? Eating a balanced diet, getting regular exercise, managing stress, making sure you get enough sleep. Those are the real foundation of being healthy. Supplements can maybe be a helpful tool, but they shouldn't be, the whole thing.
So javaburn might be, kind of a fun thing to add to your coffee, but it's not going to, suddenly transform your health all on its own. It's about taking a more holistic approach.
Exactly. And remember, knowledge is power. The more you understand about these products and how your body works, the better decisions you'll be able to make.
I think this deep dive has given our listeners a great place to start. We've looked at the claims, we've gone over the science, and most importantly, we've given them the tools to be more critical and careful consumers.
That's what I was hoping for. Remember, your health it's your most valuable thing. So, invest in it wisely.
That's a perfect way to end this. Thanks for walking us through this whole deep dive. I feel like I've learned a ton.
Happy to do it. Always love, getting into these interesting topics.
And to all our listeners out there, we'll be back with another deep dive soon. Until then, stay curious and keep asking those questions.